Hello and welcome to Essential Viewing, AYCH movie podcast. My name is Jonathan, and joining us are my six lovely co-hosts.
My name Colt.
It's Post-it Not It Pat.
They finally let me on one of these. I'm Tanner.
Keep that up. You'll be put back.
You'll come back.
We'll put you back in the penalty closet.
You messed up. There's only 5 co-hosts.
Well, I'm seeing 6 people right now.
Jonathan was counting himself as the co-host.
Yeah.
As well as host.
No, I mean the guy sitting next to Cody.
Fuck. Oh my god.
You just barked.
I don't know if I have enough mics for that.
Or,
I did not get beat up like
Why is everybody looking at me?
oh my god, I forgot. Cole had the mic in front of him. I thought this was supposed to pick up his little grunting.
What?
What's going on, Jonathan?
You didn't even say your name!
Oh, my name's Cody.
Fuck, man. So, why are you look? I already introduced myself.
Oh wait, did you?
Yes!
Wait, I completely missed that.
I did too.
I don't think you did.
He said he's Walnut Wenzel.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
What?
I don't remember that. Did you ever fucking drug me and tell me to do some real fucked up shit?
And then throw me in a room for 15 years?
Yeah, keep talking.
Alrighty. You know, it's the holiday season. and with the holiday season, it's all about family, am I right?
Oh my god.
Today, we are talking about Park Chan-wook's 2003 film, Oldboy.
Spoiler alert. Don't listen to this if you want to be spoiled. However,
I mean,
Yeah,
if you want to be spoiled, listen.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back. This is a movie that's very dependent on a turn at a certain point. And so, yeah, let's go around the room and see.
I would also like to mention there was some mature content that will be talked about.
Shut up.
I'm just saying, if that's something you are wanting to steer clear of.
what sort of mature content? What are the?
what are our triggers?
Rape.
Yeah, so let's just say like sexual violence, incest, torture,
Gore.
Yeah, so big content warning at the start. So
Yeah, just
Live animal being consumed.
literally.
Yeah. I was like, when?
I was thinking
thought you were talking about the dog, yeah.
I was like, I missed a part.
Yeah, I missed that too.
All right, so let's go around the room and get, because this is everybody's first time seeing it, right? Except for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get everybody's first impressions of Oldboy.
What I thought when I first started it, or overall opinion.
Just overall opinion.
It's hard to really think about when it comes to this movie because I have so many questions whenever it ended. The fact that did he lose his memory after it was over, or
Well, we should probably get into that.
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
But I like it a lot. I liked it a lot. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on in it, but everything about it, like the way it was shot, and there were some beautiful scenes, especially when the fighting, the action in this movie was really, really good. And I don't know what to say without spoiling a scene because I know we want to jump into it.
As for me, I really did enjoy the movie. It's definitely pretty shocking in terms of just some of the content and just sort of the reveals. I guess I was different in everyone else in here is that I knew the basic plot of the movie and sort of the revelation at the climax, but I had never seen it, and to sort of see it, even with knowing sort of the structure of the movie, it still surprised me with some of the things that happen and sort of the other revelations. So it's a very strong movie for me.
So the only thing I knew about this movie prior to watching it is I knew it won the Grand Prix award at the 04 Cannes, and I knew what the poster looked like, and I assumed it was a buddy cop story, which is very much not what it was. But I mean, I love this movie. I mean, I do a thing where I usually rank my top 10 first time watches in any given year, and this definitely cracks that top 10 as of right now. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. It's a gorgeous movie.
I think it's a really good movie, and I think it's very much a product of its time because we see a lot of those movies with the same sort of style, cinematography, the grittiness, the almost like the greenish blue hue to the entire film itself comes out around this time, i.e. The Matrix. What is that one movie with Brad Pitt and it's
Seven?
That Seven and
Fight Club.
Fight Club. And
yeah.
there's another one with Brad Pitt.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
The 12 Monkeys, I think, is another one.
Oh, yeah.
Virtual movies
Yeah,
that
yeah,
come
yeah.
around this time with this weird industrial look to them. And I think that this is like, whenever we think back to early 2000s, we're starting to finally sort of solidify what that looked like. And this movie is really a part of that look. As far as content goes, I was really surprised at some of the stuff that they dive into this movie. I don't really know what to say about the content besides its wild twists and turns. There in this movie, you have, when it comes to a lot of action movies, you have a lot of like very lots of attacking, lots of fighting, lots of very big action scenes. And then you have some of those movies that tend to be a little bit more artsy, a little bit too artsy sometimes, that can kind of miss the point of the actual action parts of the scenes. I think this movie had a good mix of both, and I really enjoyed it.
Going in, I already knew about the hallway scene, that was like, because I remember I would look up random fight scenes, and one of the ones that would always pop up is that one, because that one is always like paraded around, and it's very good. It's a very good scene. It's
like outside of like the twist reveal at the end, it's probably the thing the movie's best known for.
Yeah, and like having seen that, I was like, oh my god, this must be a crazy like fight oriented movie, and like no, it's not. And that's what I think kind of like got me too, was like knowing like the plot. I was like, the plot is structured very simply, and I'm like, there has to be a twist, there has to be a turn, because there's no way it's like so like simple as to going down this one path. Like, yeah, there's these little like these little moments, but overall it just seemed like it's going one way, and that is for the protagonist to meet the antagonist. And that's kind of what happens, but it takes a very huge turn, and overall I liked it. I like this movie.
Yeah, this was my second time seeing this movie, and I remember the first time I fell in love with it, and this time I loved it too. The only thing I knew going in was when you start to like dive into Korean cinema, especially, this is usually the movie everyone talks about. It's usually that first one, because it was one of the first movies that got a lot of international acclaim instead of outside of South Korea. It's just really well acted. It really makes me want to learn Korean, just because of like the cadence of the dialogue is very like poetic, and yeah, it's just it's definitely a hard watch in some cases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think this is one of my favorite movies, I could say.
I was gonna say though, it feels very poetic, especially like with the main character when he's writing down his journal, and then like even though I may be a beast, I
deserve to live or something.
Yeah, I don't have the right to live. Yeah.
Yeah, and so one of the things we want to start out with is the Park Chan-wook said like the two biggest inspirations for this movie were Oedipus Rex for obvious reasons, because there's a lot of like incest shit, and then the Count of Monte Cristo, which is explicitly mentioned in the movie as like someone's like username or something like that. And a lot of both of those works really deal with like different essentialisms about like fate and destiny, also dealing with like structural powers of the time, especially with the Count of Monte Cristo, it being dealing with nobility and how they can abuse power, as far as I understand it.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Cody's telling him to lift up his mic.
What does everyone? Is there anything anyone wants to start out on? Like any one point?
The opening, I guess, because I thought the opening, it set me up thinking this is going to be a fun, lighthearted-ish movie where he's going batshit in the police station, and he's just singing and he's wearing his little present for his daughter, the wings, those damn wings.
And then it has a fucked up symmetry at the end where she's sitting in the hotel with the wings, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. No, I was gonna go back to what you said before about like the nobility and stuff. We see that in this movie with the main antagonist being living in a penthouse, being the villain, and then we have the protagonist being essentially like we don't really know his background other than like he's
it's very least an everyman.
Yeah, he's very very much an everyman. He's comes from the lower class, having to fight against this upper class like essentially evil.
But it's interesting because they both came from the same place. They came from the same
place, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things about this movie that I saw was no one wins. Like there's no winner here.
No.
And which is a tragedy, which kind of it kind of harkens back to those old
Greek and Shakespearean tragedies, and that was a very explicit on the part of Wook.
And you start to see that sort of develop throughout the movie. Is just there's just no winning. Like the guy can't win for anything, and the enemy's always a step ahead, and the enemy stays a step ahead to the very very end, and even at the end. The enemy gets his revenge. Like the whole movie is about revenge. It's two people getting revenge against each other. One for pettiness and one for extreme non-pettiness, I would say.
Yeah.
But they both have very not great outcomes. So I thought that was, I don't know, I think it's very cool that two people trying to get revenge at the same time. For different varying degrees.
What?
In a way, they're kind of similar. The way that they're getting revenge on each other. One of them doesn't know why he's doing it, but in some form, it's a similar revenge for the same actions. Or he's wanting him to feel what he felt. I can't remember his name. What's the
main character?
Antagonist.
Lee Woo Jin.
Lee Woo Jin wanted Dae-soo to fuck his daughter, so that he would feel the incest, the pain. It's not. He wasn't feeling pain. He was into it.
I was about to say Lee Woo Jin felt no shame for what he did. Dae-soo, on the other hand, didn't know, because I guess we're kind of bearing the lead here, saying Lee Woo Jin put Dae-soo in a prison sort of deal.
Yeah, Cole just completely jumped ahead. Should we just get into that then?
We're assuming that if you're listening to this, that you have watched
seen the movie or know enough about it. So,
but let's just go ahead and explain essentially what happened. Dae-soo, the main character, got imprisoned by Lee Woo Jin for 15 years, and during that 15 years, he was able to hypnotize him and his daughter, who he hasn't seen for 15 years. So then Dae-soo breaks out. And he meets a woman who he ends up having sex with. This woman who he has sex with turns out to be his daughter later on. Which is the big twist when he confronts Lee Woo Jin, who the reason why he was taking out this revenge on Dae-soo was that a long time ago, back when they were in the same school, Dae-soo saw Lee Woo Jin having sex with his sister Lee Soo-oh, I think was her name, Lee So.
I think that's right.
And because of that, Dae-soo accidentally spread a rumor, and that rumor grew until eventually Lee Woo Jin's sister took her own life. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much how it comes all around, full circle.
To me, I know we've described the movie as like an action movie, but I don't. It's not an action.
No.
Psychological thriller.
It's definitely a psychological thriller
for sure.
And with action moments.
But the action moments in the movie, I think, are so God, so fucking good, especially the single shot fight scene in the hallway. I mean it's one of the best scenes I've ever seen, like ever. Period. Just I mean, there's no dialogue, and it's done in a realistic way, because obviously when you do scenes like one guy fighting a dozen guys, like it doesn't really come across as realistic unless it's
unless you see in Daredevil.
Because about to say because
Daredevil does
the scene in Daredevil season 1 where he fights these hoodlums in a hallway. It's all a single shot, single take, and it's obvious. Like
it's a callback. Yeah, there's no dialogue in there, and Daredevil is tired, just like Dae-Soo in this scene. It's so fucking tired.
Yeah, no, and it's just something like watching it made me realize, because I mean, obviously in Daredevil, you know, Daredevil's like a superhero sort of deal, or vigilante, whatever. But like this is just a regular dude.
I mean, the only thing Daredevil has going for him is that he has increased senses.
I mean, sure, but like, I guess what I'm saying is like in this movie, he's not supposed to be seen as like, it's not like this fantastical thing like Daredevil's supposed to be.
No,
like it's just like regular dude. Like
he's not John Wick.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
He was just punching a wall for like 15 years.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it.
Like, I mean, it was done in a very, because when the scene started, I was like, wow, this is being shot really well. I wonder how they're gonna like make it realistic, and then they made it realistic. I just thought that was good. Like, I like realism like that, especially in action scenes, and you don't see that a whole bunch.
The thing about the scene is like it's realistic in the way he acts, like he's tired of the fight and whatnot, but the way that wasn't realistic, it was a small gripe. This is a stupid gripe, if you ask me. But they were not fighting as hard as they could.
Small, stupid gripe, but you're going to do it.
Yeah,
I was about to say, like...
I still do it. I don't want people to say, like, hear us saying it's so realistic, and then they go into watching it, and they're like,
yeah,
that's not realistic.
I mean, I don't know. Like with the guys fighting, they were like
they were scared. I mean,
they were kind of scared. They were also trying to judge, like, okay, what's this guy's level? Like, do we just charge in, or do we just, which I mean, it is kind of dumb, like for characters like that to be like, let's just one by one, But you were gonna say something, Pat?
I would say, like, I guess we have to remember a lot of times that realism is not a lot of times realism doesn't really match reality. Like what we see in movies and see in TV shows, we think, oh, that's fake, but then we realize strange things happen in real life.
Yeah.
And I thought what I was going to say is, like, you see all the thugs like fighting them kind of like one at a time, or just sort of like here and there, because like it's not like, oh, these are like hardened martial artists. They're falling out of the war. They're kind of
they have fucking sticks,
like jackasses. They kind of pulled off the street for like a check, and they have to fight this dude.
Yeah.
And what I thought was cool, just sort of the visual continuity of it. How you see like the bad guys get beat up, they fall down for a bit, they get back up, not down again. Like there's a guy who picked up Dae-Soo's hammer, was fighting with it for a minute. There's a guy who got stabbed in the leg with the hammer. You see him limping the entire way, and it was just really cool to see how the ragged progression of the whole scene.
Yeah. Especially later, those same guys, they're alive and they're all wounded. Like
one of them had like a crutch.
One of them had a neck brace. Yeah. Like that continues on, and yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, even though like they weren't fighting as hard as they could, I mean, they're all a bunch of thugs. I mean, they're all not gonna fight to the best of their ability.
Or the thing is, they could be fighting to the best of their ability. They're just not trained.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, I should say they're not fighting to like full on pure like power, like straight up like something you see out of fucking Batman or something, like these are just guys that, like you said, pulled off the street.
Well, they're also like 30 dudes in a small hallway against one guy, and they're trying not to beat each other up as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, this is a small hallway, and they're all actors.
Yeah, and it's like also too, I think about the max you can a group of people can take on one dude is about like 5 to 7. So, which I mean was sort of like how they would like close in, and then he'd do some crazy shit.
Which I do love how he was trying hard to make sure that they were in front of him and not behind him, because that was something I was worried about, because if they get behind him, he got stabbed in the back at some point, and he was just fucking fighting with that knife in his back. I was like, oh man, it's like a button. Boop. But yeah, don't you just feel bad now, Colt, after what you said?
I still
I agree that there was some hesitation there in the enemy that would not probably be there in a real life fight. There is some hesitation there that would probably be over, like the person, like he would have in real life would have probably been like, okay,
Overran,
guys,
'cause
let's
the
just
people
tackle
would-
him and like push on him as hard as we can until he dies. Like,
All he has is a hammer.
Yeah,
All you
like,
have to
you
do
could-
is get like 5 people to just try to tackle him.
right, but then again, you wouldn't have a movie. So
Well, yeah,
there is
still.
some realism that you do.
And
have to
also-
I
suspend.
understand that.
But there is some realism you have to suspend. But I would expect those who are out there who are watching the movie, who are listening to this podcast, would be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't think somebody's going to go out there and be like,
The fucking line!
I think I could fight 15
Yeah.
people in a single
And also-
file line.
And like, but also another thing too, like most of the people you see around here fight are a bunch of fucking idiots. So I don't know.
I mean, 99% of the people you ever see fight, period, dot,
Are idiots.
fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and not to say these guys are geniuses, pure martial arts masters, but anyway,
And what I love about this scene in particular, it leads to one of the best gags in the movie, which for a movie as morose and just fucking dark, this movie is hilarious.
oh yeah,
There's actually a lot of very funny moments in this
Yeah.
movie.
I mean, granted, most of them are kind of relegated to the first half of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that scene where he's just kicked everyone in this hallway's ass, and then the elevator opens up, and he just smiles, and then it just hard cuts to the elevator opening, and then the body's just falling out.
Yep.
Do you think Winter Soldier is that elevator scene in Winter Soldier is a homage to this movie?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked because, I mean, Winter Soldier is probably the most
Is
artsy Marvel movie. So, I mean, I could...
It's up there.
was this the Akira of Korean films?
I would say yes, but we didn't see any of the action.
That's one of the things that I did want to mention is that like going forward from this movie, you do see a lot of like when you see certain things in this movie, you see a lot of references back to, and this movie could be dragging references from like years past, right?
Sure.
But this particular movie, to me, had a lot of references, like the hallway scene, the hallway fight scene. You see those types of scenes in action movies all the time now, right? Or a lot of action movies. I don't know. Just like this movie seems to be like have a lot of little things that happen in it that help other movies. Like I've seen other movies with these references.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Inspired.
No, this movie was definitely very influential. Has been very influential in the 15, 16 years it's been out, for sure. I mean, you can see that in just about every scene of the movie.
yeah, for sure.
And then a remake with Josh Brolin.
Yeah. Directed by Spike Lee, who's done a lot of good. But that movie we do not talk about.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Just-
That's who's in it.
What? Just a weird combination of people.
Yeah. And it's like set in Louisiana, and instead of being Odessu, he's like John Doucette.
Yeah.
That's good. See, I just assumed it was Americans in South Korea, which made it even. But knowing that it's in Louisiana makes it a lot
That's
better.
so weird.
Does that mean
very
Elizabeth
weird.
Olsen is working in a sushi restaurant in Louisiana with like a kimono and everything?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like it's like just like this super like naked like homage to the original or something.
Wait, hold on. I got a question. Does Josh Brolin eat a live animal in the remake?
That I don't know.
Oh man.
See, I don't understand why you even need the remake. Like, this movie is good in its own right. There's no, like, even, like, cinematography-wise, dialogue-wise, like, it's good. It's good quality movie. It's not like it was...
And also, it was
Something
from
they needed
03.
remade.
Like the remake only came 10 years after.
Yeah, it wasn't...
Yeah.
It wasn't... It was bad timing.
It was so good it needed one.
What? And why would you switch it to, like... Louisiana? Like, of all fucking places.
I don't
It's this
know.
whole thing like that. There's this idea maybe in Hollywood that the general American movie-going audience just can't relate to a foreign film. Like it has people from another country or
Don't do
people
that.
speak another language that they don't want to watch it, or they hate the fact that they have to read subtitles. I mean, it just seems like a very superficial reason to read.
I mean, I was frustrated reading the subtitles. I was like, oh,
Really?
no, oh my God.
No, it definitely.
You watch anime.
We saw that a lot in the early part of the decade. I think like a movie getting so much acclaim this year like Parasite has really put that to rest, we're like, oh, American audiences won't go see this movie, and like every showing of Parasite, even here in Alabama, has been sold out. Like,
Yeah, I was so surprised at the amount of people that were at our showing for Parasite.
There was a lot of
It
people.
made me really happy.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like for me, I guess it's just we've had like a lot of we've all had just like I don't know. I guess we watch anime, so we're used to subtitled things. But there are a lot of people out there that just hate subtitles.
There's a lot of people out there that do not
hate
want to read
subtitles. They just
That
don't want to read.
makes
They're there to
no-
watch a movie.
That makes
And,
no
like,
sense
to
to
me. To me, I can't. Now I'm to the point where I have to have subtitles most of the
Yeah.
time, unless it's like super simple cartoon, like
Even with the simple cartoons, I don't know what the fuck they're saying.
like Rick and Morty and
Yeah,
stuff
man.
Like, I can
I
watch
don't
Rick and
understand
Morty
English
without
accents.
subtitles,
Yeah.
sure. But like when I watch them with subtitles, I get more jokes. I get more like there's just more information there that you might skip over if
Yeah.
you didn't have subtitles. It's just I don't know.
And I guess I kind of want to say maybe reading subtitles is not necessarily a skill, but it does take a level of concentration to be able to read and still watch. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like pay attention to the actual scenery and stuff. So like I kind of get gripes times, but like I couldn't imagine cutting out just so much culture just because you refuse to read.
I don't know. It's not my fault you didn't do good in English class.
Well, it's actually interesting because we do have a friend who hates subtitles. Brian, he absolutely hates subtitles because and he hates dubs. He has to watch or he hates subs. He has to watch dubs in anime because his native language is Spanish. He knows English, but it just annoys the piss out of him because it's almost like he can't pay attention to both things because it's like because there's that weird language. It's not a barrier.
Totally get that.
But it's
Isn't
like
there like Spanish dub?
some
Not dub,
s-
subs?
yeah, there's some stuff with that sort of. I don't
but not like for everything.
Yeah,
But
usually
not
it's
for
only like the
everything.
bigger things that will get multiple language
Yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
Like
So-
most shonen anime will have them, but like nothing super artsy, I guess. Or not artsy, but lesser known.
Yeah.
Also, Dragon Ball Z is the only anime that I'll watch with a dub.
Oh well.
The Full Metal Alchemist.
No.
What the fuck?
All right, back to the movie.
Back to the movie after that long tangent. Sort of going off of what Wenzel was talking about earlier. One of the big reads of this movie is the whole class thing. And while like a lot of the things that this movie is explicitly influenced by, like the Count of Monte Cristo, where it was dealing with more so nobility and like the aristocracy abusing their power. This is more centered around a more capitalist framework.
Yeah.
And how like it is like they seemingly start from the same place, but the gap is disparagingly large. And it really captures that sort of like helplessness of
Because
or just feeling like trapped in your own society, even though you're told even though there's this whole idea that everybody can rise up because like I said, they start from the same place. And I mean, granted, I don't think Odesu is like the model citizen either.
No,
like he's kind of a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
But like the reason why he's being punished is like I think Cody said was really petty and all things considered.
Because he's been working up this revenge plan for so long, and it's like, what the fuck? And I was gonna say too, like one of the things I love about Liu Wei-jin, the villain, was that like he was like, the question you should have been asking was, why did Liu Wei-jin let me out? Because I was thinking that too, like he was just let out so easily. Like I knew there was something up. There had to be a twist, and that's what ended up being. And like Cody said, the villain was always steps ahead, like he was, and that's also probably because of his status too. Was that he was able to pay people off? He had him bugged. He had all this shit bought for him and done. And at some point, Dae-soo, I think, says, like, even though he's escaped prison, he still feels like he's imprisoned because he can't trust anybody. Like, how many people has he paid off? How many people has he talked to? Where is he listening? Like, all these things. And, like, he could only do that because of his status.
And plus, like, I guess with traditional movie format, where the protagonist and the antagonist have their confrontation at the end, Dae-soo meets Liu Ji-wen, like, the first third of the movie after he escapes.
Oh, yeah.
And even though he's literally right in front of him, he still can't, they still can't have their big confrontation because he still has to, his powers is such that just him sort of like dangling the truth about what happened, that's enough to keep Dae-soo at bay. And sort of like how he's so close throughout the whole movie, and Dae-soo can't do anything about it.
Yeah, he's literally like, because he literally takes pictures of him. He puts him in a taxi. He literally meets him face to face. But he is so powerful because he knows Dae-soo. He literally mentions in a phone call that he studied him. Like he's that he's
an expert.
He's a
on
scholar
Dae-soo. Yeah.
of Dae-soo, so he knows exactly what he's thinking, what he's going to do, and he knows that he can't kill them at that moment because he has so much power over him. So no, go ahead. I'm just done.
I was gonna say it kind of unpacks what it means to have revenge in a way, like the different aspects of what revenge is. So like, is revenge the death of the person who did wrong to you, or is the conclusion to the person who did wrong with you, or is revenge a part of a whole, like knowing why and how and things like that, which I really haven't seen done in movies before. It's always like there's always some sort of conclusion to it all, and ultimately at the very end of the movie we see what's his name, Dae-soo completely grovel and succumb to like begging him for forgiveness, and I don't know, it's very interesting.
Yeah, like because something else too about Fate is that like we see clocks, and we see like we literally are reminded of like that there's a time, like this is a time, like there's time running out, and I mean it was like no matter what they're going to clash at the end, and like Cody said, he just completely, like, we see a protagonist who has, like, even though you think he's won, he's lost. He's completely lost.
And even if he were to try and kill
Louis Jin,
he couldn't, because the dude with the white hair was gonna kick his ass.
Wait.
He's the only one in this movie that has superpowers.
He just fucking grappled him.
Fucking judo god.
So like it was always so Dae-soo never could win. Like there was no winning for Dae-soo ever in this entire film.
And the only time like Dae-soo had like whenever even after I mean, it was literally like anytime Dae-soo got close to Louis Jin, he kept getting bounced back, and that was literally what was happening with the guy with the white hair. And the only person who led him to Louis Jin was Louis Jin, because he just shot his fucking butler or whatever in the head, which we can assume is just Alfred Pennyworth from Batman. But yeah, like this is like the way this is done, like it is a tragedy, and it's just. And I mean, even at the end, it's like we get a moment where Dae-soo tries to talk to the hypnotist to essentially erase his memory, and we're given some ambiguity of whether he was the hypnotist actually there or not, because his daughter Mi-do comes over and like, who were you with? And like she's just gone, and like what did any of that really happen?
Yeah, but also some of the cuts kind of imply that it's been a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
Since that. But yeah, and
that was an epilogue scene.
And like y'all are saying, like Dae-soo just cannot win, but he's presented by Lee Woo-jin that one little thing that can
keep him going,
or like either save him or like help him with his revenge. And the whole is like, if you find me and if you figure out why I'm doing this in, 5 days?
Yeah, July 5th.
Then I'll kill myself instead of Mi-do.
He calls himself the Prince in the High Tower as well. The antagonist does.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is there is actually a third option of just ignoring it all, and he could have just let it go, and that would have saved him. Because it seems like revenge is just going to end up leading them down this path of destruction no matter what. This movie just shows this path is
self-destructive.
It's self-destructive either way.
Well, and we also see it in the guy with that Dae-soo rips the teeth out of fairly early on in the movie, and how he just keeps coming back, and how that not only affects Odesu, but it affects everyone around Desu.
But there's also like the transformation of I guess not expectations, but like what you view as revenge or it's almost that's another major theme. It seems like is like how you view success, right? Mm-hmm. How do you view success, right? So didn't mean to hit that. So technically, so this guy obviously with a lot of money is very successful, right? The guy who the I keep forgetting the names.
Lee
Woo-jin.
I'm very bad with names in movies. Lee Woo-jin, he's very successful, but he feels like he's not successful because of situations. The expectations of success shift for Dae-soo whenever he's in the prison because he's like, what if I knock open that wall and when I do, I'm on the 52nd floor? And he's like, but even then I'll be out of here because I'll fall to my death. And so like his expectations of success kind of shift throughout the movie depending on the situation. And that kind of happens at the end, I would say, with his daughter, or his lover daughter. The whole, like, expectations of success. Like, well, I don't have a tongue anymore.
Yeah. But it also gets into, like you were saying, how it shows how destructive this is, but also in a lot of ways how inevitable it is.
Yeah.
Because you can't let being held captive for 15 years go like that. I mean, as much as you want to, that trauma is going to keep coming back. Yeah. And I think that was one of the things, and the line that keeps being repeated in the movie was even though I am a beast, don't I still deserve to live, or something like that. And it shows and Lee Woo-jin constantly talks about, how I've turned you into a beast. And there's a lot of, especially I noticed on this watch, there's a lot of iconography surrounding Odesu that is very beastly. Like there's one scene with him and Mido, and in the background behind Odesu is the original King Kong poster.
Oh,
which very much fits with the.
I was gonna say though, in the very beginning scene, whenever he's holding the man who's trying to kill himself, it's like his face is obscured, and like his hair is like all frizzy and stuff. I was thinking like he looks like an animal, like in that moment.
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie where he just has that breakdown,
where he's like, I'll be your bitch, I'll be your dog.
Yeah, and starts barking.
This movie is not very subtle. At all. It was like, even though I'm a beast, and it's like, he's not literally a beast, but at the end of the movie he's literally like, I will be your dog, and starts like barking and wagging his tail.
I mean literally he literally is a fucking animal, because he beat the shit out of people. He had sex with like just essentially a stranger who turned out to be his fucking daughter.
Well, also we get like a little insight of he's had kind of like a very playful past. He's apparently had sex with 230 women. It was said at one point in the movie, and like a lot of them were married when they were trying to figure out who could be doing this. It's like, so I mean, Dae-soo is not like upstanding, citizen of the year material, like kind of a piece of shit himself.
Yeah,
like I mean, it was very much implied in the beginning he was like an alcoholic, and even though he was just like a regular salary man, he
got drunk on his daughter's birthday and was like late to her birthday or whatever.
He literally makes a book while he's in prison, like, or several notebooks of just every person he could possibly think of he's ever
wronged,
and it's several volumes long by the end of his captivity. And going back a bit to what you said about sort of like fate, it is sort of interesting how there is a sort of fate in the movie, but it's like this like preordained thing. Like yes, everything happens in that movie for a reason, but because all the incidental things we think in the movie were to be like chance of he meeting somebody, he meeting the girl, all of that was set up by
it was orchestrated,
through hypnotic suggestion, through like it's like deep think programming. Like basically it's like Lee Woo-jin led Odesu on this dotted line throughout the whole movie, and then at the climax, and he keeps thinking, I'm going to be the one to turn the table, and then like he like the entire time he was just on like this on this rail and went exactly to where he needed to go.
Yeah, and And like you're saying, I think that's how this movie really kind of subverts a lot of the themes of the works that this is based on, like Oedipus in particular, where it was about fate, but it was more like this preordained thing. It was a thing of the gods. And also, too, that movie, or the play, treats the truth as this all good. Whereas
like you have to find the truth, you have to know it.
And even when Oedipus gouges out his eyes, also like with the tongue,
yeah, for sure,
that parallel there. But when he gouges out his eyes, it's more seen as this. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. He's and I think even Oedipus says, it's been a while since I've read it or seen it.
Don't ask me.
where he talks about is like, even though like I've been, I killed my dad and I'm fucking my mom and everything is like fucked and I'm banishing myself, and at least the truth's out and everything is, or not peachy keen, but finding the truth is a noble goal.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, I don't really feel like that's the case.
Yeah.
Seeing as how like Odesu is like trying to, he wants to hide that from his
daughter.
Yeah, I was about to say, he was even like, do not under any circumstance, which is why he was like I'll be your dog. He was like, it's very much like with Oedipus, it was like, the truth will set you free, be all fine and dandy. But this is like, nah, let's keep it between us.
Yeah, because he was begging, and that was an interesting part too. Was Louis Jin kind of like dangled this thing in front of him, like, all right, if you find this out, because he tells a story that like whenever I had to get a pacemaker put in, I told the surgeon to give me a remote control so that I can turn it off, so I can kill myself. And he's like, I will give this to you and you can kill me, or if you don't do this, I'll kill Mido. So he, at the very end, he gives it to him, and right as he's walking off, which I kind of feel like that kind of says something about Daesu's character as well. But right as Louis Jin is walking off after faking out gonna kill him and Daesu at the same time, he presses the button to think that, or because he thinks he's gonna kill Louis Jin, but instead it plays a tape of the recording of the sounds of Daesu and his daughter fucking.
Yeah, which is like, that was such a blast, like, fuck you to Odesu.
Pretty much.
And I remember I looked at Tanner when that happened, and he was just like, what?
Yeah, no, it was wild. And then, like, I know we were talking a lot about how neither of them won. Like, in the end, like, Lee Woo Jin kind of wins. He gets to take himself out on his own terms. He outsmarts Odesu at every fucking turn, and Lee Woo Jin never felt any shame for what he did.
No,
he was angry at Odesu for his sister, being the cause of his sister's suicide. But he never felt any shame in any of it. Like, no. And he wins. He took himself out on his own terms and everything.
Because he does end up shooting himself in the elevator.
Yeah, he shoots himself in the elevator when he's going down from the penthouse. So it's like, man, and Odesu doesn't even get his revenge right because Lee Woo Jin finishes himself off.
Yeah. And there's like that symbolism of now the antagonist is at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the door's open. Yeah. So I don't know. Like there's that, and there's the sacrifice of the sacrifice of the tongue. There's just a lot there.
I mean, there was a part in there when he's in the elevator, Louis Jin is having a flashback of when he dropped his sister, or when he let go of his sister on the dam, and it was literally like as soon as she fell and died, when he got down at the very last floor, he shot himself. So it was essentially like the symbolism between the symmetry between the two.
Well, I was going to say to the point in the movie where it's beautiful symmetry. The whole movie is like is depraved and perverted to this. Like the scene where Odesu is groveling before Lee Woo Jin, and how there's a point earlier it's like, oh, he will grovel before me, and then he ends up groveling himself. And there's a visual foreshadowing in the very beginning where we're in Lee Woo Jin's penthouse, and you see the ornate pair of scissors on his desk, and I knew right away that was going to come back, because I remember seeing that scene where Odesu cuts out his tongue. And,
oh, wow.
And, like, it was really cool just to see them kind of like play their hand like that at the beginning, and then just like the horrible scene where he cuts out his tongue as a way to grovel even further because Lee Woo-jin said, "Your tongue is what got my sister pregnant."
Yeah.
Talk too
Yeah.
much. And it was literally just one sentence.
Yeah.
It was literally one sentence, and it wasn't because you expect Dae-soo to have been doing a whole lot more than just one sentence. You expect Dae-soo to have gone off and just rambled off because of the characterization of him in the very beginning of the movie, of him just being this person who just talks a lot, to the scene with Dae-soo and the sister, sort of having like him being kind of like a bad boy type,
Yeah.
him sleeping with 230 women. It just shows that like, oh, he's this type of person that just runs his fucking mouth all the time. He's just gonna get himself in trouble. It was one sentence. And it was not even like a damning sentence. It was more of a question of like, "Hey, do you know her?" And that I saw her with another dude, and
It was her brother.
I don't know if he mentioned her
Oh,
brother.
my
Or I
bad,
don't
yeah.
think he knew that it was her brother. I think that was the part that was interesting, was that it wasn't even connected to the brother. I don't think the rumor was connected to the brother whatsoever, from my understanding of it all. So I don't know. It was just like him cutting out his tongue and him having to beg for forgiveness, and also Lee Woo-jin just accepting it, and he was like, "Yep, we're done."
Yeah.
And that sort of ties back to the criticism of capitalism metaphor that the
Turn to the right. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you not had the heart fixing? Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
okay,
Sorry
about that.
No, you're fine.
But it sort of ties back into the critique of the capitalism sort of metaphor of this, where I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I had some stuff to say. Did anybody notice that the pattern on the boxes was like seen throughout the entire movie?
Yeah, on the walls and things like that.
Yeah, it was.
Purple or violet was connected to Lee Woo-jin the whole movie. Like
Which-
the violet blue dragon and just like all his little calling cards, they were all purple. His
Yeah.
Violet
handkerchief-
umbrella.
Also, whenever he's after he got stabbed, he looks at like a cloth that's literally the pattern of the
Yeah.
boxes. Yeah.
Again, very subtle movie.
Even the handkerchief that Dae-soo uses to hold his tongue while he cuts it out, it's purple too.
Yeah.
So like literally every single goddamn thing in this movie is had Lee Woo-jin's fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
Like, every single thing.
Fuck. But yeah. Jonathan,
I just keep going.
that's it.
I was just thinking, it's like, God, this movie it's a lot. It's very dense.
Oh yeah,
It's a
for
very
sure.
dense movie, but it's one of those types. To me, it's one of those movies that yes, you can go back and rewatch and dig at it, or you can take it at its face value, watch it once and really enjoy it, and then put it to the side. And
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that you can get out of it as much as you want to get out of it, and leave it at the door if you don't want to anymore.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say, because we were talking about Odesu groveling and kind of accepting his fate by the end, where Lee Woo-jin basically wins, and that's sort of like how if you're very critical of capitalism, you might see like just having to placate that as like having to placate to the system that way, like you have to play by their rules.
Yeah.
Even though it's supposedly utilitarian, but that sort of utilitarian nature of that Lee Woo-jin sets up, it's like I said earlier, it's all on his terms.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's the thing about capitalism in general, is like it's like considered like
Bootstraps.
like one eats the other. It's like fend for yourself, but it's also like you should be free to do as you please. And it's like with this, it's like you have Dae-soo being essentially free, but he's still playing under the rules of Lee Woo-jin. So definitely for sure.
And a lot of like why Lee Woo-jin is doing the things he's doing is honestly kind of just obfuscating blame for himself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this, it's like, well, I mean, if you weren't fucking your sister.
Because literally, like he doesn't necessarily force his sister. Well, he does force his sister, because he starts slowly he takes off her panties, and she's like, stop, and then he doesn't, and then it goes further than that, and then she just goes with it.
And watches it herself in a
Mirror, yeah. And that's how she discovers Dae-soo, because he
that
sees
mirror scene with the zoom with Dae-soo and Lee Woo-jin. That was good shit.
Yeah, for sure.
God, there's a lot. And then apparently, like, I was doing a little bit of reading beforehand, not as much as I wanted to, but apparently there's a lot of very culturally specific things about the movie that are really interesting, and how a lot of the movie, and combined with the classism metaphor, there's also some like very like Korean specific things, especially around like the late 90s, early 2000s, and their economic climate. And there's a lot of like, apparently like in the beginning scenes where we're seeing like the 15 years he's in prison, the stuff on the TV, like a lot of like the major events that were happening kind of correlate with a lot of what's going on.
Yeah, and a lot of them were like Korea centric. I mean, there was only,
Yeah.
I would consider, 2 worldwide. They showed Princess Diane's car, and they showed 9/11.
They also showed Hong Kong being
and Hong Kong being handed over. But a lot of it was very like Asian specific. It wasn't like a typical like worldwide. It's like, oh, George Bush wins the election.
Which I mean, that was I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like showing that, like, just that's the passage of time is through television.
Well, and that's what he knows. But yeah, at this time there has been a lot of transition that happens over the course of the 15 years that Dae-soo is in there. Like going from, I don't really know what years, but
it was 88 to 03, the best I could gather, or 87 to 02.
Yeah,
It was one of those two spans.
I think literally right at it was during the beginning half, and the 87 half was at the end of an authoritarian sort of type regime going on, and it's also the economical that whole was the economic boom. That whole era of the 90s was this massive economic boom for South Korea.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, like, this man literally comes out into this brand new world.
Yep.
And he was trapped in a little time.
Well, and also
capsule.
too, like he I don't think he really dealt with the internet either. And then that's one of the things they kind of touch on, as he gets out, that he's kind of having to rely on Mito and Junwon, his friend,
To help
kinda,
him,
like, help
guide
him
him.
out.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy watching this in 2019, and like what they're showing from 02, 03 is like this state of the art. Like that cell phone was a really nice cell phone, but by 02, 03 standards. And because it was so funny when they first when Dae-soo got the phone, I was like, man, that phone's kind of shit. And I was like, oh fuck, wait,
This is maybe
it's 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It makes you wonder if, whenever the guy says, "Don't ask me any questions," when he hands him the phone in the wallet, if he was referring to where you've been and or the cell phone. It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
That is quite possible, because like cell phone.
Obviously, cell phones have been around for a long, long time. Like they've been around since mid '80s in that part of the world. Well, in the world, but
clamshell.
like Japan and Korea, they both have had like cell phones prior to this, and he would have been in contact with them, but they would have been like bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
compared to this whole thing, and the fact that that's the one continuity error I have. How would he know how to answer it?
I'm not even kidding. I was like, this dude has never held a cell phone. Like it was. I mean, I guess it was easy. Like I was just like, whoa, it's closed. I guess I open it. He's like,
he flipped the thing open. He was ready to go.
yeah, like you knew. So.
It maybe be like something that you can hand wave it as like hypnotic programming, just like be like, hey, whenever you get a cell phone, this is how you work it. And
Oh,
then, like,
actually,
he,
yeah.
like, instinctively knows how to use
That or he
it.
just learned it from TV.
Oh, we forgot
Yeah,
about
because he didn't have access to TV.
Never mind, we're the
You're right.
idiots. We're
Okay,
stupid.
you know what? No continuity errors in this.
No. Something I also loved too was the painting in his room.
Oh yeah,
The fucking ugly, scary Jesus Christ in there, like, and it literally aged as he did. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Fuck that painting.
Man.
yeah. And it really kind of dealt with that duality between the beast versus the man.
Yeah.
Which, God, yeah. And I implore everybody to, like, if you're going to watch this movie, kind of read up on like a lot of like cultural and historical context, because it's really interesting in how
Yeah,
that
like we
plays.
did.
And I think Park Chan-wook is kind of, I don't think he wants people to read like political stuff, like political commentary into his, but like, I mean, you can't escape it.
Again, not a subtle movie at all.
It's not. In a lot of ways, it's not very subtle at all. But and we'll say this is also an adaptation of a manga. I thought I wrote down the mangaka, but I did not.
I mean, it's called.
I think
It's called.
I think the original manga is called Sympathy for. Damn it!
No,
Mr.
no,
Devil.
the original the manga is called Oldboy.
Yeah, I was
It
about to
doesn't have
say.
the author.
Yeah, I was just talking about like I didn't have the author.
Yeah, but then
Also, we will say that the Edi's adaptation was a very loose adaptation. Of the manga.
Yeah, it's almost not anywhere similar. And from what I've read, a lot of the adaptation, it doesn't really deal with sort of like the psychological damage someone would receive in a situation like that. In the sense of, like, with Odesu, you really see, like, I could see how this person would act this way, being cut off from
people.
almost all of human contact for 15 years.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, it's not Odesu, but there is a different character's name in the manga. When he gets out, he's just kind of like, he has, like, general, like, oh man, that sucked. I got fined, but it doesn't really go into the psychological depth of how someone would.
Oldboy is written by Garen Tsuchiya and illustrated by Nobaki Minagishi. There you go.
And also too, this is the second film in Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy.
Oh.
So I've only seen the one after this, which is A Sympathy for Lady Vengeance.
Oh, okay.
And it's good. It's a very different movie from Oldboy and deals with vengeance in a very different way. Not only just like switching genders, but also it just kind of has it has a very different tone. And then there's the one before this was A Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance.
Yeah, 'cause that's why I was confusing earlier. Was the other two films in his trilogy? I was thinking that was the name of the manga. Pardon me.
Yeah. And he also did wrote this movie and directed this movie a few years ago called The Handmaiden that I really want to see.
Oh yeah, I really want to see that. It's on my watch list.
Mine too.
I meant to watch it before today, but shit happened. So
Yeah.
but so yeah, is anything else anyone wants to talk about, or kind of winding down?
I kind of have a fun fact. This movie at the 2004 Cannes Festival went up against Shrek 2 for the Grand Prix award. Just thought I should mention that. Quentin Tarantino was the jury director. So
He saw the bootlicking and was like, "Yeah,
he's like, "This gotta be it."
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because a lot of people do compare Park Chan-wook to Tarantino.
Yeah.
Which, like,
I see it."
some of it I see, but I also think it's a little reductive.
I saw a review on Letterboxd that it was the sexist version of Kill Bill. I was like,
Wait.
Wait, this movie?
yes. I understand.
It may be in
where
very
you're coming
basic
from,
terms,
but like,
Yeah, but also, like, Kill Bill's also not a feminist movie either. But, like...
Something I was going to say was that if Parasite also deals with class clashing. So
Yeah, in much more explicit ways.
yeah,
If you haven't already, go see Parasite.
for sure.
I was about to say definitely no Parasite spoilers on here.
No,
No,
we're not.
I just wanted to say
leaving it
that you see this as well in Parasite with
it seems to be a very big cultural theme.
yeah, for sure. But if you need to go see it, it's probably one of the best movies this year.
Alrighty.
Let's get into some plugs, I guess.
I guess some plugs. You can follow us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Overcast, and SoundCloud, as well as Twitter at AYCH Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube at All You Can Hear. You can follow us at Twitch at twitch.tv/allyoucanhear, and follow us at Instagram at All You Can Hear. My name is Jonathan. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at John Odinson12 for some hot takes on movies.
My name's Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00.
This is Patrick. Thank you all for listening. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at John Lost His Name. Follow my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art. And you can follow the podcast on Letterboxd at All You Can Hear.
I was about to say Patrick's been working. It makes a lot of sense. Patrick's been working on that for the past couple of weeks, and it's really nice. You can follow me on Twitter at Tanner1495.
Thank you for listening. if you want to watch Oldboy for free, if you are a student, you probably have access to something called Canopy. Get it. It's an app, and if you have a student account, just log in, but connect it, and you should be able to get that for free and be able to watch it. But I'm Wenzel. You can follow me on Twitter at Winsy Wilkie. You can follow my art Instagram at World of Winsy.
I was going to mention that sometimes public libraries also have access to
Yeah, okay,
so
yeah.
Always check your library, whether you're a student, whether you are a citizen of your town. Your libraries have access to a lot of different movies, and they may even have a copy of the movie you're looking for in stores. So support your local library. My name is Cody, and you can follow me at CODDOC11. That's CODDOC11 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
Thank you.
Bye.